Hello guys, I'm Tom, and today we're going to explore what the Red Death is. Among the most colossal, intimidating, and awe-inspiring titans in the vast How to Train Your Dragon universe, there's one that stands out not just because of its enormous size, but because of the sinister and devastating role it plays from the shadows. We're talking about the fearsome Red Death. This creature isn't just another dragon in the crowd. It's an imposing entity, an almost mythical figure that operates as the mastermind behind terror and interspecies violence. Some know her as the Queen of Dragons, others as the Sovereign of the Swarm. But all agree on one thing. When she appears, the others bow. What sets her apart from any other dragon is not just her physical power, but her ability to control, subjugate, and manipulate dozens, if not hundreds, of species at will. The Red Death doesn't lead through respect or admiration, but through sheer, paralyzing fear. Some have even theorized that her influence goes beyond instinct, that there's a kind of mental or sensory link that crushes the will of other dragons, turning them into obedient slaves within her empire of fire. Her rule is so totalitarian that not even the most aggressive dragons dare to challenge her. She is, by every right, the ultimate antagonist of the first movie installment. A threat so overwhelming that even the fiercest Vikings would rather avoid speaking of her existence. In this video, we'll dive into a deep, meticulous, and thrilling exploration of the history, symbolism, and legacy of this creature. From her first appearance in the animated film to her reimagined version in live action, which has reignited interest in the saga for new generations of fans and nostalgic veterans alike, we'll analyze every aspect that makes her an icon of the world of Berk. We'll start by understanding her essential role in the narrative, followed by a detailed review of her intimidating anatomy, tyrannical behavior, destructive abilities, and of course, her vulnerabilities. Because even the most fearsome of monsters has cracks, and within them lies the seed of their downfall. The Red Death belongs to a near-legendary category within her species, the Titan Wings, dragons that have reached such an age and level of power that they transcend the limits of imagination. Her wingspan defies logic, wings that block the sky, armor like skin as tough as volcanic rock, and a mass so immense that every other dragon looks like a mere insect by comparison. Although her exact origin isn't documented, it's implied she arrived centuries before the main events of the story, establishing her dominion at the volcanic heart of Dragon Island, where she built her throne of lava and fire. There, she instituted a brutal and merciless system, a regime based on absolute obedience. Every dragon on the island was forced to hunt and offer her tribute. Those who failed were punished, as an example to others. This created such an effective chain of terror that no dragon dared to rebel. Over generations, this hellish cycle held firm, fueled by fear and the instinct to survive. But that horrifying balance was shattered with the arrival of humans. When the Vikings established settlements across the Berk archipelago, the Red Death saw them not as enemies, but as a new resource. As a result, she began sending her winged minions, enslaved dragons, to raid villages, steal livestock, burn homes, and thereby perpetuate the myth that dragons were simply savage and unpredictable beasts. No one suspected that behind these attacks was a greater force, a faceless queen controlling every move from deep within the volcano. It is within this context that our protagonist emerges, Hiccup Horrendous Haddock III, a young Viking, curious, peaceful, and visionary, who breaks away from his people's warrior traditions by capturing and later releasing a legendary Night Fury. He names the dragon Toothless due to his unique retractable teeth, which make him appear less dangerous than he truly is. What begins as an act of compassion soon becomes a revolutionary alliance, a friendship that will change the fate of both dragons and humans forever. During a journey with Astrid, his companion and future key ally, Hiccup discovers the volcanic center. There, they witness the real dragon nest, a massive lair where enslaved dragons deliver their prey to a monstrous creature ruling from the shadows. In an unforgettable scene, a Gronkle is devoured for bringing back prey that is too small. That moment reveals the brutal truth. Dragons are not free. They are victims of a regime of animal slavery. The revelation is shocking. Hiccup and Astrid return to Berk with a clear warning. They are not at war with dragons, but with a greater force that compels them to attack. Stoic, Hiccup's father and the tribe's chief, reacts with anger upon discovering his son's disobedience. But he also realizes that this threat must be confronted, not just for the survival of his people, but for the freedom of the dragons themselves. And so, the final battle begins. The Vikings launch a desperate assault on the volcano. They manage to collapse the entrance, allowing the enslaved dragons to escape. But doing so also unleashes the fury of the Red Death, who rises from the crater like an enraged goddess. Each of her roars booms like thunder. Her burning breath incinerates entire ships. Nothing seems capable of stopping her, until Hiccup returns. Riding toothless and accompanied by his friends and their trained dragons, he leads a daring counterattack. They use speed, intelligence, and teamwork to confront the beast. During the battle, Hiccup draws the Red Death's attention, and she chases them with relentless ferocity. Despite her enormous size, the creature shows surprising mobility, launching fire blasts with surgical precision. Then comes the climax. Toothless soars high into the sky, breaking through the clouds, and fires a direct plasma blast to the creature's face. She's disoriented, and in a final act of courage, Hiccup performs a dive that pulls her down with them. At the critical moment, Toothless shoots directly into her throat. The fire spirals out of control from within. Her already damaged wings can no longer hold her. The Red Death falls like a shooting star, crashing into the ground in an explosion of fire and ash. But not without a final strike. In her dying breath, she lashes her tail, gravely injuring Hiccup, who loses a leg in the process. That is the price of freedom. With her death, an era of domination and fear comes to an end. But a new chapter begins in the history of Berk, one where humans and dragons can coexist, learn, and thrive together. Hiccup's sacrifice and his unbreakable bond with his dragon mark the beginning of an alliance that will change the world. Because sometimes, to defeat a monster, strength alone isn't enough. You have to understand the true enemy. After uncovering the mysteries of the past, revealing the dark legacy of this creature, and understanding its devastating impact on the central plot, the time has come to confront its most terrifying essence face to face. Its form, its behavior, and why its mere existence was enough to collapse any balance. We will now dive into a deep dissection of its physical design, its extraordinary abilities, and of course, those weaknesses that, despite its seemingly invulnerable appearance, ultimately sealed its fate in fire. From its first appearance in How to Train Your Dragon, the Red Death imposes itself with a near-mythical presence. It doesn't enter the scene. It crashes in, consumes, and destroys. It emerges as a colossal shadow that awakens a terrible truth. There is something beyond the conflict between humans and dragons. Its design is not just impressive. It's a declaration of power, covered in dark gray scaly skin, as if made from volcanic stone. Its body is streaked with reddish marks that resemble extinguished embers, hinting at a fury always on the verge of eruption. Each scale has a rough, almost coral-like texture, as if forged at the bottom of the ocean, hardened over time and lava. Its face is a blend of nightmare and evolutionary strategy. It has 6 glowing blue eyes arranged in 3 pairs, allowing it to monitor its surroundings from multiple angles, making surprise attacks nearly impossible. But beyond their usefulness, These eyes give it an unnatural, almost alien expression. Its tail is heavy, dense, covered in bony plates, resembling an ankylosaurus's club, a true weapon of mass destruction, capable of smashing cliffs with a single swing. And from its forehead protrudes a large curved horn, like a war lance, reinforcing its aura as a creature from another world. One of its most fascinating features is its head, crowned with a sort of bony coral-like structure, which has led some fans to speculate about aquatic origins. This crown isn't just decorative, it's symbolic, reinforcing its image as the absolute monarch of sky and earth. The Red Death is, quite literally, a queen made flesh, forged by centuries of evolution to conquer and subdue. Its mouth is an abyss filled with curved, razor-sharp fangs, designed to crush bone and rock alike. Interestingly, its lower jaw juts out more than the upper one, giving it an even more beastly silhouette. Every breath it takes is accompanied by a deep sound, a constant growl that vibrates through the air like the omen of a coming storm. Its limbs also deserve special mention. For massive legs, covered in muscle as taut as steel cables, ending in 5-fingered claws the size of spears. And from its back extend enormous wings, capable of casting shadows large enough to cover entire villages. Though thin in appearance, these membranes are resilient enough to endure high-speed flight and abrupt maneuvers. We're talking about a creature that, when fully extended, reaches absurd proportions. 122 meters long, over 30 meters tall, and a wingspan of 168 meters from tip to tip. To put it in perspective, it could envelop an entire football field with its wings and still have some to spare. In the live-action version, its design was refined to suit a darker, more realistic aesthetic. The creature now appears more compact, with more defined musculature and black obsidian-like scales, through which a reddish glow seeps, like living lava flowing beneath the surface. On the head, wings, and crest, these fiery zones intensify, giving it the look of an ancient demon rather than a mere animal. Everything about it burns, even when it's not in battle. Its presence in this version feels even more supernatural, as if it were a force of nature given form. But its terror lies not only in its body, it's in its mind, its attitude, where the true horror is born. The Red Death is not a mindless beast acting out of hunger. There's intelligence in its decisions. There's cruelty. Its reign over the dragons is not solely based on brute strength, but on constant psychological manipulation. Its punishment and reward system is as effective as it is brutal. A dragon that fails to hunt enough is devoured. The message is clear: obey or die. Its tyrannical nature reveals a mindset oriented toward total domination, and the most revealing aspect comes when its authority is challenged. Instead of responding with cold calculation, it reacts with unrestrained rage. It is impulsive. It is proud. When Hiccup and Toothless manage to escape, it doesn't pursue them with strategy. It chases them with desperation and fury. This reveals a crack in its armor. The Red Death is not immune to fear. In its final moments, when cornered, it shows something we had never seen before: panic. For a few seconds, it's no longer the goddess of terror. It's just a gigantic creature, trapped between fire and the fall. In terms of offensive power, what it offers is nothing short of total devastation. Its physical strength is enough to tear down entire structures, split the ground open, and sink ships like toys. Its flight, though not agile like a Night Fury's, is fast in a straight line and particularly effective at sweeping everything in its path. But its most lethal weapon is its fire breath, a continuous stream of red flames, so dense they resemble flowing magma, capable of melting rock, liquefying metal, and causing massive explosions. This fire is no ordinary fire. It's hotter, denser, more persistent. It seems to pour from an inexhaustible internal reserve. For this ability, and the destruction it leaves in its wake, it is known as the Red Death. In the original material, however, the creature was radically different. The so-called Green Death was a gigantic sea monster with gelatinous skin, covered in barnacles and tentacles, that spewed green fire and looked like a mix between a kraken, a leviathan, and a mythological dragon. Although it was cut from the final film, part of its legacy remains in the Red Death's final design. Its rough skin, its bony crown, and its marine aesthetic all hint at an origin deeper than mere terrestrial evolution. In some video games, justice is done to the Green Death, with designs that depict it as an alternative emerald-colored version, paying tribute to the original concept that inspired the saga. But like every powerful figure, the Red Death had its Achilles heel. Its size, though imposing, was also a weakness. Its body was slow to turn, clumsy against smaller, faster opponents. In addition, its wings, having gone so long and used for long flights, had weakened. A well-placed attack was enough to damage them, as proven in the final battle. Another vulnerability was its sensory dependency. Despite its 6 eyes, its vision was limited. It relied more on smell and hearing, which made it susceptible to tactics, exploiting its poor visual precision. And most tragically, its fire, its most powerful weapon, could be turned against it. A precise strike to its mouth could ignite the built-up fire inside its body, like a volcano exploding from within.